So guys, tune into the show. Don't miss it because it's going to be an amazing show. You are going to be touched. You're going to be amazed. You're going to be excited. It's Thursday, 11 o'clock on a Thursday. The Message Talk Show with Alex Gordon. Yes, don't miss it. So guys, tune into the show. Don't miss it because it's going to be an amazing show. You are going to be touched. You're going to be amazed. You're going to be excited. It's Thursday, 11 o'clock on a Thursday. The Message Talk Show with Alex Gordon. Yes, don't miss it. So guys, tune into the show. Don't miss it because it's going to be an amazing show. You are going to be touched. You're going to be amazed. You're going to be excited. It's Thursday, 11 o'clock on a Thursday. The Message Talk Show with Alex Gordon. Yes, don't miss it. That day again, the day that I get so excited about. You know what? I was excited the other day when I had Bob Berg from the States on my show. I was excited. But you know what? I'm even more excited this week when I've got Winsome Duncan, the book confidence coach on my show. Amazing, Winsome. How are you today, Winsome?
He's so excited he had to do it 3 times. Well, what can I say? You know, you got royalty, you got book royalty up in the building, isn't it? So you have to show respect where respect is due. But big up to Bob because he really touched a soul in me because you know what he's doing for the children, and we were connecting offline. Like, you've got some really powerful guests, Alex, and it's my pleasure to be here and to be of service. So, you know, you can repeat 2 or 3 times and wheel it up.
Yes, what she was saying. I was so excited this morning. I pressed the show reel and didn't press the go live button. So we weren't live. But you know what? It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. You know, today's a very special day. Every day is a special day. Every day we wake up is a special day. For the past 16 months, we've been going through some traumatic times in this country, around the world. But to know that you can open your mouth, you can smile, you can open your eyes and think, yes, I'm here. I'm still here on purpose. I'm still here on destiny. And that's why we're so excited about living. That's why we're so excited about life. Am I right, Winsome? We're excited about life.
You are right. And now more than anything, if you didn't know how precious life was, then you're really disconnected from the source. And I always say, Alex, if you haven't written a book during lockdown, you don't want to write no book. You don't want to write no book. We've had the time, we've had the pause button, we've had the reset, but we're going into a new normal. And as we're going into a new normal, without getting too technical, there's things in operation and at play. So you really have to prepare yourself, having different streams of extra incomes coming in and not relying on that job that's letting you go because of the, you know, pandemic and the 80%. What's that 80% of your wage? What's that called? Where they lay you off work?
They lay you off work.
Furlough.
Oh, furlough money. Furlough.
But you hypnotized by me or something, bro.
I'm not employed, so I don't understand furlough.
In the days, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the days.
I understand furlough. Go on.
Yeah, right, so it is precious. You must wake up every morning in gratitude. And no matter what, always give of yourself 100% in good and in bad.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to play now. I like strolling through, researching my guests, and look what they're up to, yeah? And then I found this clip, and I thought, I must play this. I'm not going to play the video of it, but I'm just going to play the audio so we can listen to Miss Winsome Duncan in full flow. Now, listen to this.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is the Winsome Show. Yes, it is. And I'm going to be doing little snippets on things that I find amusing in the news, as well as interviewing people. And today's topic is Jamie Oliver, Dirk Rice. Now, I'm just sort of weighing in on the argument about 2 days later. I'm of Caribbean descent, half Asian, half Grenadian. And it was almost like when I saw the packaging, I was just like, Dirk Rice, what's that? You know, I didn't really give it too much thought. And then when I saw the rhetoric that was happening after, I just thought, no, he means pan jerk, barbecue jerk, jerk pork, jerk chicken, right? What's he talking about? So So, Jamie, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're very wrong. Now, Levi Rooks, you should have showed him. You know, you taught him how to make jerk seasoning, but you should have told him that it's for meat, it's a marinade. And not only that, you know, jerk is Jamaica's national dish. And I just think that he is really taking advantage, him or his team, is really taking advantage of how we can sell more. Call it pucker rice. Call it Jamie's pucker sensation rice. But
You gave him a rebrand there. You gave him a rebrand. Called it Jeremy Pucker Rice. How dare you?
No, that, you know, I mean, cultural appropriation is real. It's something that we deal with all of the time, and I think it's like you go into Afro-Caribbean hair shop along the high street. Who are they the majority earned by? Asian descent. Same with our foods like Tropical Sun. That's not a Jamaican company. That is an Asian company, and they dominate and mass produce. And if you think about like the hair shops and it's a black owner, they have to pay more money because they don't have the access or maybe the funds to get all of that big wholesale price so it can be cheaper. So we've got a long way to go. And Jamie Oliver was really insensitive, but he didn't business. Why? Because money's involved. And that's what you've got to think when you think about these people. Money speaks. He's made, you know, a bit of controversy. He's made what he's made, and he don't feel no way about it. No way. And he's going off, you know, in his world and being great and recognized. And, you know, white is right, isn't it? If we're talking about skin color and tone, white is right. So you can't touch him. Oh, the wonderful Jamie Oliver. But where's our version of Jamie Oliver? Where did Levi?
Well, now you're talking. Where is our version of Jamie Oliver? Now you're talking. Now you know, and this is something that we have to get into our grassroots and start lifting our people up, because there are some guys out there who are better than Jamie Oliver. There are some guys out there. But they're just not seen or heard.
And think about it. He started off his career as the naked chef. Like, could you go and tell your mom, I'm going to be a naked chef as a person of colour, sharing out your things and all the people there's money you? Come off it, man. Come off it.
I'm going to be the naked chef.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we've had that piece about Jamie Oliver, let me just give some more of snippets of what Winsome has been up to. And this lady has been busy working, and if you just, when you see these things and you keep a lookout in our community to see what is Winsome up to, how she's touching the community, and the projects that she wants to drive to the ground. So here's one comment we've got here. My only regret is the books that I have not written. What inspired that, Winsome?
You've done some great research. Teach me your ways. So what I do, this is really interesting. These are like my quotes that I do. I try to do them daily. And what I do is I want to prompt and stimulate your senses. So writing the book is a process. Some people take 3 years. Some people are just ready to go, boom. It just depends on where everybody's at, if you see what I mean. So my only regret is the books that I have not yet written. There's so much inside of me. My ideas that I've got, like, so I'm doing 100 book challenge, yeah? And that's of 100 diverse characters. And Sleep Baby Sleep is the first of its kind. Then we've got the Dream series coming in. And this is a #1. Yeah, think about all the millions of books on Amazon out there, and this is not my first #1, this is my second #1. Popcorn House is the first, and it's about having diverse characters and stories for our communities, and this is my gifting. So the only regret that I will ever have is to not continue in this strength, because this is what I'm talented. This is what I've been born to do, you know. And once you know the formula, 100 books is nothing. It's nothing.
Wow. Once you know the formula, 100 books is nothing.
No,
and then recently you had this
the formula and the money.
Formula and money, yes, 100%. I agreed there.
Hey.
And then you had the Pioneering Women Speak. What was that all about? The Pioneering Women Speak.
These women are incredible. They really are. when I think about the women that are on this book right here, beautiful 9 diverse women, many of us was neurodivergent, including myself, and transformative leadership on the rise. So it's an anthology of a collection of stories that talk about in different areas of lives. So I've even got a poem in here. So we talk about business, we talk about how to grow your colors, we talk about getting into creative spaces. We've got HR in there, and she talks about, you know, making sure your business is up to scratch when you're employing people. I think that's really important, not to employ your brethren, but actually to employ somebody that is good at the job. Do you see what I'm trying to say? And then we also got stepping out of your comfort zone. So these are women of all different ages, different races, who have come with their diverse stories to share. And we've had a really good response, because we've not even gone properly on the campaign. But last week we were on BBC Merseyside with Anna B. Sexton, and then we were on BBC London, and we've got some more interviews coming. So I edited the book. It's a really inspirational. It's got like little quotes. So this quote here says, "The body stays at rest until a greater force moves it." And then each one starts with a quote. And then this one here, you can see, "The decisions you made yesterday affect your today. The decisions you make today affect your tomorrow." Dion Williams. So we talk about our younger selves. I don't know if you're in touch with your younger self there, Alex, but we talk about our younger selves and what is the messages that we would give as a young person. What would you like to say to that young person if you had that opportunity?
Wow, that's amazing. So then you were on the BBC talking about this as well, yes?
Yeah, BBC London Radio and BBC Merseyside.
Merseyside.
We've got another BBC interview coming up shortly. Yeah.
And then I found this article here that you'd written on your site, that God is calling you to great things, yeah, in your lifetime. And one of them is to write 100 diverse children's books. Now, this is very specific that you're homing on this. Why?
Well, currently only 5% of children's books in the UK have main Black, Asian and minority ethnic characters. Inanimate objects are more likely to feature in a children's book rather than the main characters. And this is in comparison to the 33.5% of school children of BAME descent. And it's not right. You cannot be who you do not see. And we need to show our children of all skin colours in positive reflections. And this is what's really interesting about this particular process. I've got white characters in here and I've got black characters in here. And this series is called Dream Bigger. And there's something really awesome about this series coming, because it's not only saying to our children to have a good imagination and to be focused on your dreams and you can do anything what you want to do. It's an overall message of showing that if I want to be the solution, I can't be the problem. I can't just say, right, I'm just going to do all black books, because it makes me as bad as this publishing industry out there. They don't want me. And I'm really okay with that now. Before I was just like, oh, you know, please give me a deal. But even when you get a deal, you only get 10% royalties of your books, which is crazy. So if you've got something special like a J.K. Rowling and you're doing some witchcrafting, then, you know what I mean, you can get some millions or billions. You see what I'm saying? But it's okay that they don't want me, because I want myself. And I want to leave my legacy in and through books. So, you know, we've got another one here. This was my first #1, The Popcorn House. Yeah. And I worked with 30 young children aged between 7 and 12 during lockdown. These are just some of them. And we did this amazing project. They're all #1 best-selling authors. They all had the opportunity to draw characters in there. And I want to be able to help fund this, because, you know, we've just turned the Look Like Me book challenge into a CIC. But getting funding is just another story. It's we've got applied for quite a few funds and they don't understand yet. But when those 100 books come out and us do like more press coverage, they will understand.
Wow, that's a massive project. That's amazing. You know, there is enough room for everybody here out there, you know, Winsome. There is enough room. No one big player dictates the whole market. The world has changed in that regards, you know, and therefore, you know, I believe that if you keep pushing, and we keep talking about this, we will get some sponsors from outside. We'll get some sponsors, some corporate sponsors, to start standing behind some of these projects that you're talking about. All right.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely valuable to, you know, the work that we want to do with our young people, because the next age group is 12 to 18. So we want to continue this project on. And, you know, often I get frustrated and I cry a lot because I just think, why do they not want us to be seen? But they're just not educated yet.
And then you said my story is worth finishing. Hey, the story continues. The story continues. How many people out there that you've come across who've talked about writing their books, talked about writing their stories, and still haven't done it years later? How many?
But it's quite a high number, sorry to say. You know, talk is cheap. We can chat all day and say, yeah, I'm writing my book, I'm this, I'm that. But there has to be a formula. There has to be a way in which you lay out your plan. And if you don't know how to write the book, then it's so I've got a workbook called Just Write.
Okay, before you drop into that, Winsome.
Yeah.
Tell me the story of what got you here. Tell me how because you've got over 15 years experience, 16 books that you've written, at least 2 or 3 bestsellers. Yeah. What got you on this journey? Because you didn't just start yesterday.
No, I started in 2006, and I had the Food Spiral, a collection of 21 poems that were talking about body identity and how I moved around in the world as a larger lady and body dysmorphia. And I sent that book. Well, I sent another book out, actually. It wasn't that one. It was 1, 2, 3 Back to Me, which is still not published. But I sent that out to about 20 publishers. And I've still got the letters somewhere. And they're just saying, no, it's not what we want. Although comprehensively written, no. And I was just like, right, you got to sell your soul to these people in order to get what it is you're trying to reach for.
Wow.
So that started the journey of I'll just do it myself. And my first book was actually black and white. It's a collector's item, I guess you could say. I've got 1 or 2 copies left, yeah, because I thought, if I have it in colour, it'll be more money. But it's not. It wasn't actually that much more. So we turned it into, we turned the book into a colour edition a bit later on down the line, and that was an A5 book. And that pretty much started me on the journey as the Healing Factory to publish my books. And then I branched out more recently, 5 years ago, to Peaches Publications in order to get other people's books out, because it really is a specialist skill. And although there's information out there to you know, you can log on and do it for free if you're on a low budget, it's about the quality. It's about what you're going to invest in yourself. So going back to your question, when I speak to a lot of people, and they'll be like, oh, you know, I want to do this and I want to do that. And you mustn't let money stop you. Writing is free. So just write, just get it out and do your thing. But, you know, some of the book covers that I've seen are just really shoddy. And I'm just like, oh, gosh, you don't do a book cover for yourself. You do it for your audience. It's not for you. It's for your buyer that's going to buy it. Like, at least just make it look professional. So yeah, there is quite a few high numbers of people that have called, never hear from them again. And it's a shame, because if they just have some tenacity and some time management and some endurance, you could get a book written in 24 hours. It just depends where your mind's at.
But you see, I believe part of the service that you offer is not just the fact of publishing the book, but is keeping people in tune with getting it down. So the project's lasting 8 or 10 weeks or 12 weeks. And in order to keep them focused to the end result, somebody has to come behind them and say, right, guys, what have you done this week? Well, you know, is that something that you have to do every time?
Well, I've got a team now. Before, it was just me on my lonesome. you know, and that was quite highly stressed. And the age that I'm at now, Alex, I want to
Yeah, only
remove
21, only 21, only 21, yes.
the 21 years plus 21 that I'm at now. I want to reduce the levels of cortisol in my system because, you know, I am a bit of a workaholic, so my work days tend to go on till like 2 a.m. in the morning, and it's not healthy. So I had to put together a team. So Ruth Pearson is my publishing manager. I also trained her up to have her own company as well. And this is another thing that people don't know. So I trained her up to be her own publisher with Finding Your Voice publishing, which is you know, she's doing amazing. Her books went into the bestseller, and then I've got an operations assistant, and it's just, you know, a small team, and then the freelancers.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm just thinking about Robert Kiyosaki says work
Woo.
on your business and not in your business. So that's where I'm kind of at the moment. Working one to many is really important, because who's really blowing it up in the UK and doing what I'm doing? Like not just publishing, it's not just that, but I'm talking about making innovative changes around
Wow.
diverse children's books. I don't know anyone doing 100 children's books. I don't know anyone that, you know, has a just marketing book from a woman of color in the UK. Like, I'd like to see it though. If they're out there, send me the links. Like, you know, someone that's teaching your people not just to write and lay out your books and just write it, but to also market your book. It's a 200-page book. A lot of
Wow.
people don't know this stuff.
And all this started because you got rejected.
Yeah, I got rejected.
All this started because you got rejected.
I got rejected.
Somebody said no.
Mhm.
So the word no is not a bad thing sometimes. Because if you hadn't heard no, you would not have got up and pushed yourself now. And you just said you had a small team, but man, this is a big team, man. Which small team? Man, you've got a big thing going on here. Wanting to do 100 books and doing this with a team behind you. So what does a book project actually look like for an individual? What does it look like? What do they have to do?
Well, on the website, peachespublications.co.uk, there's a 6-step process, and it talks you through the different levels as to when people got the manuscript. So the first thing is that when people come to us, they think, oh yeah, the manuscript is done, but it really isn't. So the first thing is to write a book, and then you want to either get it edited or proofread. If you don't want to write a book, we actually also have a ghostwriting service. So we can ghostwrite your book based on the ideas that you give us in our consultation calls on Zoom. So it just depends on how busy you are.
This proves you're not small fry, man. This proves you're not small fry. You got a ghostwriters, man. This proves you're not small fry. You got guys in the background.
We're ghostwriting a couple of books right now. Yeah, definitely, of course. So that can take anywhere from 18 weeks to 26 weeks. Then you've got the proofreading, which can be about 4-week turnaround. But if it's a really bigger book, it can be longer. Book cover design would be the next step. Then the interior layout, it is like typesetting. And then Amazon distribution. This is for global distribution worldwide. And then we've got some extras with things like the press kit. So if you want to go that extra mile and get into places like the BBC and stuff like that, we can put together a press release, because it takes some skills and strategies. So you got to be sort of friendly with the people that you're interacting with, especially if they're a journalist. Send them some books, or you know, you can send them a little drinky drink. Just build a relationship with them, and they'll invite you back, and they'll get you to come on, and they'll tell your friends, and it will just open the opportunity. I've put the link in the chat if you want to have a look at the process.
Send them some rum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Send them some rum in the post and they'll come back to you.
Listen, you got to show your appreciation, innit? And you get a hand up sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
One of the things that when the last time in our pre-interview that we had that conversation and we talked, and this really came home to me when you talked about the projects that you were driving, and in our conversation we kind of mentioned Windrush and the fact that there's so many stories out there which have not yet been kind of they're hidden, and we've only seen the government respond because of some of the issues that risen to the surface because of campaigners, because of people have really pushed it hard. Yeah. What would you say we could do to encourage the Windrush generation to say, just get their message published before they go?
Well, funnily enough, that's the Windrush generation is quite a high percentage of my clients.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've got a story that we're working on called My Uncle Robert, which was about a Jamaican soldier who came to, enlist in the army in the UK. And they've got like how he travelled here, and it's by Beulah Cumes. And we actually have David Lammy, who's done the endorsement for it, MP
Wow.
David Lammy. And it's a history book, which we're getting ready for Black History Month. And it's a very important story. And then we've got another lady who's 72, who's written a private collection of her life's work. And it's a fairly small book, because I think about 6,000 words. And it's not for public consumption, but
Wow.
it's that legacy of leaving your book.
Legacy.
And she's absolutely lovely. And then we've got another elder that talked about the Jimmy Savile days in childcare, and children were being abused and stuff like that. So she's talking about her journey. Her book's called The Child Prisoner, and we're working on the cover for that as well. So we are covering that niche. It's mainly women that we work with. We do work with some guys, but it takes time. So I think that if you're of the Windrush generation, you know that you're on the other side of life in terms of you're going to be going to glory at some point soon, if you're around like 80s, 70s, or whatever the case may be, especially in these sort of times. And I just think as a historical context, you must attempt to, and even if you don't know how, we can help support you in laying it out and putting your professional industry standard contents page together. It's really, really important. So we're doing this.
So if you've got parents, now I'm pushing this out to the public now. If you've got parents out there, the Windrush generation, so a lot of our age group have parents that came through Windrush, have uncles and aunties, and you've heard some of the stories around the dining table. You've heard some of the stories around the kitchen. You've heard some of the stories told, but those stories are not going to live on if they don't write them down, if they don't republish that book. So why don't you help your uncle, your auntie, your granduncle, your grandaunt, your brother? Why don't you help them get that book out? Make contact with peachespublications.co.uk, because this is a live project right now. Am I right, Peaches?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's so important, because the times that we're in are unprecedented, and you've really got to just say to yourself, what is it that you want to share? What is it that you know that perhaps somebody else doesn't know, and that you would like to share that? And obviously archive it in the British Library. That's quite important as well, to leave it as an archive in the British Library.
Wow. And it was an interview I did with Dr. Martin Glynn, and he mentioned something when he talked about legacy. And he was saying that he said, guys, if you think about it, well, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we never had YouTube. We never had all these social media platforms, right? So now we have these social media platforms that we're recording on, that we're posting, that we're putting out content. Imagine 100 years from now, generations start researching and looking to see what happened back in 2021, what happened back in 2020. And they go to the archives of YouTube and go, wow, there was a lady called Winsome Duncan, and she was driving a project of 100 books, and she ended up with 100,000 books across the country. Do you know what I mean? It's we look at these things lightly in terms of what we're putting out, what we're creating, and what we're pushing. But the legacy effect is tremendous. Generations from now, people will be looking back and thinking, amazing. So it's
100.
important to encourage people to publish,
Yeah.
not just a book, but to write. As you said, just keep writing, just keep pushing it out. Now, where do you see, you talked about 100 books, you talk about that. Where do you see your publishing company going?
Do you know what? It was really interesting. Yesterday, I was with my prayer partner and we were looking at Revelations chapter 1. And it's just really weird, but in Revelation, it instructs you to write what you seeth in a book. Yeah? Write what you seeth in a book. So it's instructing you to leave your knowledge and to leave your wisdom in a book, and that's biblical. So that really rang out to me, because I do believe that we're in a time of revelation, Alex. And it really cemented a lot of things, because it mentions it writing and logging your knowledge twice in that verse, chapter 1. So where do we see ourselves? It's an interesting one. I mean, I won't be publishing people's books forever. And I think that I'm just a person that I like variety. And I'm doing it now because there's goals that I'm wanting to achieve, and it's something that I'm good at. But what ultimately, where Peaches Publications is going, is that my team would be working on that, and then I would want to do more one-to-one workshops online and build that. And I think we talked about this process. You know, the Americans do it, and they do it very well.
Amazing.
And they've got a great funnel and autoresponders. So that's really where my mindset is at the moment, converting. I do like doing online training and online workshops. We haven't done anything for a little while now, but
Wow.
that's the lane that I'll be going in next.
Wow. And Ruth has just said so much, looking forward to this show today. Wow, that's one of your people showing up and saying yes. Say hi out there. Wow. So
That's
guys,
our-
if you want to ask, if
Yeah.
you want to ask Winsome any questions today, if you put hashtag MTS onto your question, hashtag MTS, we'll pick it up. And then at the end, we'll do a giveaway. We'll do a giveaway to the person who's commented the most, who's asked the questions. Yeah, just preface it with hashtag MTS. So you're building something that's going to live on. You're building something that's going to live beyond you, but also is to catch the next generation of Winsome Duncans that are out there. Because you remember when you got stuck. Sorry?
There's no one out there like me.
There is no one like Winsome Duncan. There is no one like Winsome Duncan. But there are other young people out there who've been told no. And at the point of being told no, they become discouraged. They weren't like you. Yeah? They weren't like you. You have a spirit about you which is bold and brash. Bold and said, I'm not taking, I'm going to do this regardless. But not everybody has that kind of that kind of push inside of them to keep pushing. And so they go and settle and say, right, let me just do this for a while. 20 years go by, 30 years go by, and they haven't tapped into their purpose. They haven't tapped into their destiny. But if you think about it, think about the amount of people that you've raised up, connected, and touched. And now people around you are walking in their purpose just because you pushed your one idea. Isn't that amazing?
I do actually think about that sometimes. I do. I like, someone messaged me and they said, oh my God, I love your Just Market It book. I just didn't know there was just so much to do. Wow, I'm just amazed. And I was like, thank you. Just go and leave me a star rating on Amazon, you know. And then there's other people that from way back, maybe 10 years, maybe when they remembered my persona, Lyrical Healer, when I used to do my, you know, from there, they would be coming and saying, oh, you really touched me and I was just so inspired, and do you remember this? And I'm like, no, but people will how you make them feel. And I'm quite serious when it comes to the business of books. You know, if you want to do your story and you're ready, we can do it. Let's roll. we got the team there. So I just think if you're at a stage, whether you're young or old, and you're feeling despondent, that's a part of the book writing process. But what you have to let drive you is that burning desire within. Your light when it's under a bushel, no one can't see it, but you need to come out and let the world see who you are and share your stories, because the potential is great, in terms of what it is that you can do, the lives that you will change. And we've got a lot of people coming lately to do books about, their healing, because like the Black community is not really talking about sexual abuse and paedophilia, and there's a lot of stigma around it. And we've got, elders that have been through this breaking down crying on the phone or on a Zoom call, because this is their healing and this is their way of getting it out, and this is their way of saying, well, if you notice this behavior in your child, then pursue some investigation.
Wow. So that means you evolved as well, because if you came from lyrical healing to helping people write their books, and you've given them an avenue to now to let it out, to let it out process by process and unveil it to the world. But people are scared to be judged. People are frightened to be judged in this day and time. They're scared of putting stuff out. They're scared of what people might say. What would you say to those people out there who are on the verge of, yes, should I not do this because of what people might say? What do you say to those people?
It's an interesting one, because you can actually use a pen name or a pseudonym if you didn't want people to recognize you as the author of the works. So that's something that you can consider. And normally, if you've had cases going on or it's an alleged offence, it's probably better to put it in a pseudonym as well. I would say, though, you've just got to keep focused in the fact of that you want to tell your story, you want to share it with the world, and you want to keep going. I think that is just so crucial, because it is a discipline, it's a sacrifice, it takes time, it takes energy. The amount of calls I get, people just breaking down crying over their book because they're just so passionate to share it. So you can do all things if you're just focused on the journey.
Wow. You can do all things if you just focus on the journey. Now,
do you have any questions?
Hashtag MTS if you want to ask Winsome your question. I'm looking in the comments. Nothing has come through at the moment. Yep, no one's pushed through. But tell us about Look Like Me, because I've seen that website you've promoted. You talked a lot, slightly about it recently, but tell me about Look Like Me. Look Like Me is your charity arm. What does Look Like Me do?
So the Look Like Me book challenge is a CIC, and we provide activities with young people in the form of workshops over a 4-month period to get their creative ideas together, the images that they want to put into the books, and we create a story from it. So I did a fundraising campaign, GoFundMe, and we earned, let's see, I think £1,600. And that was the first seed. So this was the original book that we had here.
Wow.
Okay. And inside of that book, I don't know if you can, this was the Popcorn House. And this character was drawn by one of the young people. And this is Zion and this is Nevaeh. They are cousins. And they get themselves into a whole heap of wahala because they're not listening to their grandparents. They made up the kitchen like a big mess in the kitchen. And they get sent to their rooms, and then their magical wardrobe takes them to a land called Caleria. And these were names that like all the young people had helped think of. This is the magic fairy, Ladybug, and this is their 9 ether spaceship. So again, we're talking about DNA, 9 ether strands of hair that activate and create the spaceship. So we're really looking at bringing in our roots and our culture. And this is what we produced from that seeded money. So obviously if you get more funding, then there's so much more that we can do.
Has anybody not spoken to you about doing a cartoon series with that on a movie cartoon series? That's amazing.
Yeah, I do definitely want to do something like that with Netflix. We have spoken to a cartoonist guy, and he was from South Africa, I think it was, and he was amazing. Actually, he's been doing it for many years, and he advised us it's really a long process, though. It's about the frames in which the characters, like if you just did this as a movement, this would probably be 100 frames.
Wow.
You know, just this as an action. So he talked about it. It's a lot of takes, and it's the quality in which you want the characters. You've got the 2D, you've got the 3D, and animation is quite expensive.
Wow.
Excuse me.
Wow.
Animation is quite expensive, and we are just in talks, and maybe we can apply for some funding. But I definitely would like to put something out, of course.
Wow.
You know, if someone out there has an animation company.
Hey guys, I don't know if where you're joining us from today. We've had Winsome Duncan on the show talking about how to transform your life through publishing your book. Now, you need to make contact with Winsome if you want to get your book out there. Let me put her details on the screen so you can see some of her details. And as we wrap the show up now, guys, as we come to the close, Winsome, what's the last word? One word, one sentence that you want to push out to the audience. Doesn't have to be a paragraph. One word, one sentence.
Be kinder to yourself and be kinder to others.
Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. And as I'm saying that, I'm putting Winsome's details up on the screen so you can see it to make contact. You've seen the process and you've seen all her information.
Because you know what it is, Alex. You don't know what another person's going through. And we wear our smiles so well. You know, we got this, I'm fine, I'm happy, and what things are happening behind closed doors. And life is really a precious vessel. So I just think that a lot of the time one can beat themselves up and critique themselves. Be kind to yourselves. Nothing is as urgent as you need it to be. Nothing at all. You know, it can wait.
Wow.
So, yeah. And
Winsome Duncan says,
to be here.
Be kind to yourself. And on that note, we're closing down. We're saying goodbye. And Winsome, thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for coming on and expounding. And we're watching you, Winsome. We're in your back. We're watching you. We're coming after you. We're watching what you're doing. We're promoting what you're doing. And we're getting behind this, man, because the 100 books going to turn to 1,000. And we're going to get our community behind this because this is awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for tuning in today. I thank you for being on the show and just being your best self. You've showed up today, and I want to thank you for being here and tuning again next Thursday on The Message. Miss the show. You got to be on the show.